Hi, everyone. My name is Ileana Betancourt, and I want to welcome you all to our Edulastic Enterprise webinar today. Welcome everyone who's here live with us, and also welcome to everyone who's watching the recording. We're excited to share Edulastic Enterprise with you and show you how you can gain immediate insights and improve support for teachers and students. You can also boost success on state tests with Edulastic Enterprise. So we're going to be giving you a walkthrough of how that works, and then you'll be able to hear from a district who uses Enterprise to meet their goals. So during the first half of the presentation, you'll hear from John Kite, who will provide that walkthrough of the different features of Edulastic Enterprise. And then later we'll hear from our special guest, Dr. Amy Sharp, who is an Instructional Technology and Professional Development Coordinator at a district in Tennessee. I'll let them introduce themselves further when we get to their portion of the presentation. First, I'll just ask everyone to go ahead and type in the chat where you are tuning in from and whether you work with students or teachers on the school or district level. So you can go ahead and do that. And also, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please go ahead and enter them in the chat or in the Q&A box, which you'll find as an option in the Zoom meeting webinar menu. So we'll be monitoring both of them, and we will make sure to get to everyone's questions and help you get the information you're looking for during today's presentation. So again, thanks for joining in, whether you're live or joining in on the recording. We're happy to have you here. Great, so we have some people from Ohio, Jefferson County Schools, Clovis. Awesome. Lafayette. Okay, excellent. Let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to hand over the baton, the webinar baton, to John Kite to take things over. So I'm going to unmute you, John. And you're already sharing your screen, so we should be all set there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
That's great. So my name's John. I work with the Edulastic Partnerships team, and I came to Edulastic as a big fan of the product, and I just continue to be a big fan. I'm really lucky to work on the partnerships team for a product that I'm just really enjoy showing, and I'm kind of just in awe of, and especially as we continue to add features and everything. So anyway, if you're ever interested in a personalized walkthrough of Edulastic above and beyond what we're doing today, please feel free to go to edulastic.com and schedule a demo with me, and I can, I tailor the time around you and your questions and just make sure it's a good investment in your time. So anyway, thanks for joining today. I'll definitely be giving you a quick overview of Enterprise. So what is included in Enterprise? Or to put it another way, what's included in a school or district subscription? Because that is what Enterprise is. And some of you may be using a free teacher account. You may be pretty familiar with that and just be kind of curious about subscription upgrades. Some of you may already have a premium teacher account, and that I kind of call that a super teacher account, in that it's like the free version of Edulastic, but includes about 20 additional features. And as you know, we like to continue to add features and enhance that experience. So Enterprise goes, it includes premium for everybody that's included within the implementation, but it also provides a school level of access and or a district level of access too. And just to get pricing out of the way, it's $4 per student for a 1-year license of Edulastic Enterprise. At this point in the year, we're offering a special of just $1 per student, covering until August 1st, 2018. Otherwise, it would just seem unfair to charge more for just a couple months of school time at this point. So anyway, so what is included for these school and district leaders? The first thing is they will have the ability to create common assessments. For those of you using the free version, you know that you can kind of share into a school library or into a district library. And then other people can find the assessment. You can kind of coordinate everyone assigning things. This makes it way easier to do. And I can show you how that takes place. The second piece is that you have the ability to monitor progress in real time. So as a school leader, as a district leader, you can see, whether the test is being administered and who has yet to administer it by the teacher and class level. You can also see district-wide performance data if you have district access, or for those of you who are principals, assistant principals, academic coaches at a specific school or a couple schools, you could have school-wide access rather than district-wide access. And those are sort of set up, permissions that we can provide during the beginning of the implementation. And then finally, you can manage the district-wide settings at the district level. And if you just have a school enterprise account, you can actually reach out to our customer success team and ask them, can we have the school-wide setting consist of the following? And I'll actually show you what those would be. So I mentioned that premium access is already included. For those of you who aren't familiar with what a teacher premium account looks like, it's getting harder and harder to describe because we're getting more and more features in there. I mentioned that we had 20. In fact, we have 19 as of March 2018. But I tried to bucket these into 4 general categories. One, and this is kind of my best take at this, one is flexibility. So if you want to score essays with rubrics, you can do that. If you want to shuffle the order of questions within an assessment, so every student gets a unique sequence, you can do that. If you want to shuffle answers within a multiple choice question, you can do that. If you want to turn on this IBM Watson features that will read the words aloud to students, our text-to-speech feature, that's included. Teachers can work with each other when collaborating on assessment drafts. Teachers can add co-instructors. Teachers can print up a student report card for every single assessment that's a standards-based report card. Teachers can also add a calculator into an assessment, whether it's a basic, scientific, or graphing calculator. Teachers can also anonymize students to project work in class. And so flexibility, there's probably more that I missed there, but those are some of our greatest hits regarding flexibility. For paper-based options, we have the ability to administer assessments on paper with premium access. So you have bubble sheets that students can fill out. They have a student name, their period, their QR code. Teachers have this application on their iPhone or Android device. They can take quick pictures using an app called Edulastic SnapScore, and that data will immediately go into Edulastic. There's also an Express Grader, which kind of works like a spreadsheet in that, if you just have teachers, if you just have students that are, filling out tests on just normal pieces of paper, teachers can actually look at those pieces and then just add scores or submissions into Edulastic via the Express Grader. So those are 2 paper-based options. Another one is security. So you can require students enter a password before taking a test. You can mark students as absent before a test begins. You can we already have within the free version, kiosk mode for Chromebooks, but we also have within Premium the Safe Exam Browser mode for Mac OS, Windows, and iOS for iPads. Edulastic doesn't work on phones. That's a deliberate design, decision that we made, just because a lot of our tech-enhanced items can be pretty sophisticated and probably not optimal on a small screen. And then we have in-depth reports. So there's deep dives into single assessments, progress over time for multiple assessments. You have standards mastery details, including a detailed standards mastery gradebook. And you have student summaries within a student profile report. So you have a lot of in-depth reports within Premium at the teacher level. These same reports exist for Enterprise at the school level and at the district level. The great news is everyone has access to similar looking reports, but they have these reports at their own permission set or their own perspective. So I'm going to provide a quick walkthrough of Enterprise. Maybe we can pause here to see if there's any quick questions off the bat, but otherwise I'll proceed pretty quickly into a quick tour of Enterprise.
No questions so far? Looks like you've answered what everyone wants to know so far, so keep it up.
Okay, good. And yeah, so anyway, I'm in this enterprise account, Ron Calloway. I'll go ahead and, so you can create common assessments in three main ways. And these are the same ways you can within free and premium. And the main ways you can do it is you can create an assessment from scratch by authoring questions, by selecting questions that have already been authored, by duplicating questions and making your own versions of them. Or you can start from, by choosing an assessment that's already been pre-built from the library, and you can even go one step further and customize those pre-built assessments. And then finally, you can create from a PDF. So you can upload a PDF into Edulastic, add a quick answer key on top of that, and go ahead and administer that as a common assessment. So we'll very quickly, I'll be very respectful of time here, start creating our own assessment. So I collect, we're filtering by 7th grade math. We can filter by standard, by just items that have been certified and vetted by our content team, question types, DOK difficulty, etc. So anyway, I just selected 2. Of course, I can author questions in Edulastic. I can author 6 classic question types, 23 tech-enhanced math question types, 9 tech-enhanced ELA question types. And, assuming we're done here, we've authored some questions, maybe we've made our own version of them, I can go ahead and publish and assign this assessment. In this case, I can change the image, the title, the start date, the due date. Then I can go ahead and assign to specific schools. Now, as a school administrator, you may just be given this option at Jefferson just for specific teachers. But at the district level, you're given this option across all these 4 schools in this fictional district. And I'll go ahead and remove a couple teachers that we may not want to assign it to. And then we'll go ahead and look at our advanced options. These are a lot of those premium features. So you have a lot of flexibility. This is kind of, to make a long story short here, you can decide when students have visibility into question level or assessment level data for them. You can allow them to shuffle the questions or the answer choices, or add a graphing calculator, or you do paper-based options, require a password, etc. And then this is where you can configure and tailor performance bands as well as mastery criteria that will inform some of the mastery reports. So you go ahead and assign it, and then you can see how students are doing. So here we go into this common assessments area. It's just in my dashboard right here. And I can see, well, okay, we administered this common assessment. Well, which teachers have yet to assign it? So I can click on not open, and Sean Calvin hasn't assigned it in 2 classes. So we may want to give him a friendly nudge. We can go to in progress and see, wow, okay, these assessments are going on as we speak. You can even click down into assessment level views and see how everyone's doing so far. So that's kind of that real-time monitoring I mentioned. And then finally, you can see which teachers have completed assessments here. So you have all that monitoring available. You also have in-depth reports. And I mentioned these 4 reports earlier. This is where you would find them, in the reports tab. So premium teachers would also see these reports, but just for their classes. So in this case, you have the single assessment report, kind of a deep dive, and we'll actually show that. We'll show progress over time, or this is one of the reports that we could show in a later demo. We also have a standards mastery detailed analysis and a student profile report. So for the single assessment report, I'll click on to get a quick summary, and we'll go to 2006, 2017. We'll go to 7th grade math, and I'll go to district assessment number 3. And to give you kind of a quick rundown of one of these reports, I can see, this kind of answers that question. Well, how did the district do on this test? So I can see a quick comparison across schools, or I could look across teachers. I could also see how many students were absent. 0, that's good. The average score was 6.68 out of 8 points, and the average percentage was 84%. And then we have these district performance bands. So maybe these are lined up with, expectations based on historical performance. So we have, the enterprise, this excellent level, proficient, basic, below basic. You can name these whatever you want. You can have as many or few of these as you want, but this can give you a quick snapshot view. And then from here, we have peer performance across, in this case, the schools. It looks like Washington schools exceeding this district average indicated by this line. Waverly's underperforming compared to the district average. We can compare by teacher. We can compare by class. And, if I wanted to look at, for example, student subpopulation data or other information, I could do that. And in this case, we can compare by, and just, analyze as we go. Well, how is it looking as far as narrowing these achievement gaps? So all that information is there. And feel free to interject, Ileana, if there's some questions relevant to some of these views. And here we have question analysis. So I can see across the district, question 3 is difficult,
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Quick question from Jamila in the chat. Can you show us the standards mastery reports, please?
Sure. In fact, what I'll do to kind of change things up slightly is I'll actually go into Safari and I'll show it from the point of view of a school, just in case anyone, is at a school and, they're a little tired of seeing district reports at this time. So I'll go ahead and share that for you. And so I'll go into School Admin 1. And so here I am in a school administrator account. And so I'll go into reports and I'll click on the mastery summary for standards mastery. And we'll refine the results a little bit. I will change it. So we're looking at 2016, 2017. That just happens to be where the demo data lives. And we'll go ahead and go into period or grade 7. So we try to anticipate what questions you would ask in a report like this. And I mentioned that mastery criteria can be set at the assessment level, and that can continue over time, where you can continue to sort of tailor what values and what the mastery criteria is for particular standards. But here you have this mastery summary. So what can I see here? I can see that 100% of the standards have been assessed. 64% have been mastered. There's been 7 tests, 50 students. And I can quickly assess, well, how do these student performance levels break down? So we have 22 students who have mastered 70% or more of the standards they've been assessed, all the way down to 10 students who are in the intervention level because they've mastered less than 50%. And so we try to anticipate your questions. What are the most challenging standards in order of, filtered by how few students have mastered them? And then here on the right, who may need intervention in order of which students have mastered the smallest percentage of standards that they've been assessed on. So you can quickly access this information. Then we go into the Mastery Gradebook. And the Mastery Gradebook shows a detailed view, in this case, of 7th grade Common Core math. And we can see, you can see teachers, student by student, standard by standard. How's everyone performing? In this case, Ava Hahn has not mastered this standard. Well, why is that? Well, we can click there and we can see, in this case, there was just one question so far associated with that standard. We can see the most recent student response. So this report is actually, I think this one and the single assessment report, I think, are the most popular reports in Edulastic. And I'll go back to the single assessment report, show you a little bit more on that. So I'm now back in the district view. I'm at the question analysis, and we can see question 3. We can see, well, how did the schools perform on this? And which teachers and which classes did well? So you have all this information there. You can also see response frequency. So we can see as students are getting comfortable and familiar with tech-enhanced items, you may want a little bit of test-taking strategy or practice on particular item types. So this allows you to know, well, where might we spend that time reviewing and practicing? You can also see for multiple choice here. You can see question 3, the correct answer was here, C, 53%. But you can see over 20%, which is our misunderstanding threshold that we can set. you can see that A was a common mistake. This misled a lot of students, and this may be at the heart of why question 3 didn't do very well. So maybe we need to explore this in more detail. So we can actually click on 3, see the question as far as the, the last group of students taking it from a class, and look at, these distractors and kind of help tailor our lesson based around this immediate data that we have that can help us. And then finally, we have performance by standards and performance by students. And you can see the performance by students, you can see this point values from 0 to 9. So a lot of our students did pretty well, at least 6 points. These students didn't do as well. So I've kind of, highlighted them so I could find out who they are, how we might intervene, and really use this immediate data to our advantage to help these students get the additional practice they need. And I know go on. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We have another question from the chat, which is, are those reports things that can be sent home to parents to show students' progress towards standards mastery?
Yes, some of them can be. I know we're going to in the future. Some of them are available via PDF. They're pretty much all available via CSV, not really the best format for a parent discussion. But yeah, I think more is coming in that way regarding PDF printable assessments. There's also some views available within the student account. And I think more will be available at some point in the future. We don't have what people would think is a proper sort of parent portal view within Edulastic, but we do have some insights for students. Teachers can share not only their feedback, but the content authors' detailed solutions. And, you can get a quick view of which standards students are not doing as well in to further address that. And that can be a great resource for tutors or teachers. So,
Hey, John?
Yes.
Do you want to show the student reports?
Sure.
The student report card, the student profile report, and then also and so these can also be printed and sent for parents.
So here's something that can be, printed up and sent to parents. So I just picked a random student, Lou McKay here. And the good news is we can see across different academic years too. For those of you who are curious about this student's journey as a 6th grade student to a 7th grade student. So here we have Lou's work as a 7th grade student. And you can see progress over this 7th grade academic year. Of course, Lou's being assessed on different standards over this time, but you can see some general trends. And if there's pre and post-test information, it can be very helpful. And then you can see a standards mastery detail. So we have kind of an overview here. My favorite view is this one, which is the student's mastery profile. So as the academic year continues and Lou starts working on these different assessments, this information is going to light up with mastery criteria. And you have all this information down below at the domain level, at the standard level. You can see for this standard, it's been on 2 assessments. There's been 2 questions. It's been, the score has been one point, maximum possible score 2, and the average score, 50%. So anyway, if I'm curious, well, let me see those questions that are aligned with that standard. I can go ahead and do that. And in this case, there's 2. And I can take a look at that. So this can be a great view for sharing with, parents, community members. Somebody was telling me that, they had some parents that expected their student to be placed in a higher level honors course. And, the school leadership kind of showed this report to the parents. They talked through it, and clearly the data wasn't showing that or supporting the parents' case. What could have been kind of a more emotionally charged conversation became a very data-driven, constructive conversation, and it made everything a lot more helpful. So that can be great, especially as you can click around this interface. And as I mentioned, PDF versions of these reports, I believe, are coming in the future. And then finally, you have this student assessment profile, so you can actually see any assessment. So as Ron Calloway, I can see any assessment that a teacher has done, even as a homework assignment or other information. So you have access to all the assessments that Lou McKay has taken over the year, whether they're common assessments or class assessments. You have all that data. So anyway, I'll now just show one last thing, which is the managed district area. You, as you know, and this is something that as a school you can talk to us about. You can have a district URL, logo, sign-in policies, determine what integrations are taking place. You can also create these settings, whether you want to allow partial score, allow visibility of the timer. You can set the school year. You can determine how many or few performance bands you want, how they're assessed, what they should be named. And then you can continue to go down this list. And the actions area really is the best area for all of these pages, where you can add, users, move users, edit courses, add courses. You can add a new school principal as a district administrator. So it really helps you keep the settings and just the configuration of the implementation really tailored around what your objectives are. And I just wanted to mention that as a district access point. So anyway, that's what I intended to show today, and really want to thank you for taking the time to see this. And I know Amy has a lot to share, so I'll pause here.
Thanks, John. That was an awesome overview. If anyone has any questions about that, you can go ahead and enter them in the chat or the Q&A box, or you can wait till the end and bring them up now. Then, in the meantime, we will pass the presentation along to Dr. Amy Sharp, who will continue on with the next portion of the presentation about Jefferson County Schools and how they're using Edulastic Enterprise in their district.
Great, thanks, Eliana. Have we got my screen going?
We can hear you well, and I think you need to take over the screen share.
Okay. How's
Perfect.
that?
We can
Great.
see it. Excellent.
Thanks so much for asking us to join you today. Again, I'm with Jefferson County Schools in Tennessee, and we came to Edulastic through the best way to come to a program, and that's through our teachers. I'll share a little bit about our journey with you guys, and happy to answer questions along the way. So again, Jefferson County Schools is a rural district in Tennessee, and we started looking at the need for a one-to-one blended learning type environment in 2015. So in 2015, 2016, the big conversation in Tennessee seemed like at every conference that we went to, we were talking about blended learning, one-to-one. What kind of devices should we get? Should we use virtual academies? Everything was around devices. In our district, we decided to take a moment to slow down and realize that we need to refocus on instruction, curriculum, intervention, and assessment, because those are the things that we're committed to in Jefferson County. So at that time, we decided to establish a vision, a 2020 vision. So where did we want to be in 5 years? So that's kind of the road that we took to eventually get to Edulastic. So we made sure that we integrated task before tool, right? So what's our goal before what's our tool? Guiding questions, again, leading back to instruction, curriculum, intervention, and assessment, professional development, and then the tools that we were going to need for success. So we had some reports that we were really in love with in our previous programs. We were able to see how our students were doing on their math assessments, reading language arts, science, and social studies, comparatively to how they would do on their state assessments. And we really liked those reports, but we lost them, right? Those assessments were tweaked. I don't know if everybody else was hit the same way that we were when Common Core came along, and then several other assessments later. We didn't really have a great report to see where our students were. So we were really trying to use a couple of tools that weren't great tools together. They were perfectly fine tools, but working together wasn't working for us to see where our students were as far as assessing what they know, making sure that our current teaching practices were hitting on the things that they did and did not know, and that students were learning even more so that we could go through that cycle of further assessing, teaching more, learning more. So we felt a bit stuck, and one day one of our teachers came to us with a suggestion, and that suggestion was Edulastic. So we took some time to take a look at it. We shared Edulastic with our leadership teams. We did some trials in our district, some very basic free teacher account trials. We asked for teacher feedback, and then we connected with John Pike, who is our sales rep for the program. And eventually, we also connected with John Chin, and we decided to try a pilot district option. And just so you know, it was probably around this time in the school year that we took that leap. I noticed that John mentioned a $1 trial opportunity for districts from now until August. I highly recommend that because it gives you a chance to get to know the district or to get to know the company and what they will do for you. It's exactly what we did. We were very comfortable moving forward with a relationship with Edulastic because they are 100% responsive, very dedicated, very courteous, and very professional. These folks have become well-known people in our district, and they have met just about every need we have laid before them, and I promise we have brought some needs. It's been great to get to know these guys and to have the opportunity for their training sessions. So embedded videos in the program is one of my very favorite tools with Edulastic. You don't have to leave the program to learn more about it. They have a great help desk called their Zen Desk. There are online videos everywhere, all over YouTube. There's a chat feature. Again, it's hard to pick my favorite. The embedded videos are great, but I'll just tell you that I feel like I know Swetha personally these days. She's their chat rep, and John, who answer most of our calls. And these folks really are so very helpful. They're available via phone and via video chat, just about 24/7. I can't think of a time that I've needed to meet with these folks that they were not able to meet with me. We have also taken the opportunity to have some on-site training, and it was wonderful. We had a chance to have Jeannie come in and train us, and just like the folks online, she was very helpful and has continued to be so since her training here. I can't say enough about the responsiveness of Edulastic. Our Tennessee state standards were a need to be integrated into the program, and they took care of that for us. Our high school requested our CTE standards be loaded, and that has happened. Any reports that we've needed updates to, any tweaking along the way, Edulastic has been wonderful about making those enhancements to the program. So I feel like I'm leaving something out as far as the responsiveness and helpfulness. That's probably my biggest selling point with this program is the responsiveness and the professionalism of the team that we work with. I do truly feel like they bend over backwards to meet our needs. And they also make us feel like in doing so, it makes their product better. So instead of being a burden, it's like it's what they want to do. So again, we have been very appreciative to that. I'll tell you our accomplishments so far, what we see as our accomplishments in Jefferson County, and that's that all the Tennessee standards for all subjects and our ACT standards are uploaded to Edulastic. So we're able to have a common assessment for not just our reading, language arts, math, science, and social studies, but for every course in our district, we have common assessments. And that was a huge goal of our principal of our high school, and it's working out very well. Science came on board this year as well, and our K1 and 2 benchmarks went very well. We have been able to use these reports for targeted reteaching, for intervention, and for professional development. John, while you were talking and looking at the reports, I made a couple of extra notes. We were able to use these reports specifically in our individualized learning plans with our students, where students identify their own needs and they make a plan for growth. The reports that are available for the students was just beyond measure in that process for our students. We were also able to look and see which teachers were having strengths in specific standard areas, find out what type of activities they were doing, what they were doing in their lesson plans that were changing the way their students were learning in comparison to some of our students who weren't having that growth. We also found our teachers who needed a little bit more support, and we were able to share that support through the activities and lesson plans of our stronger teachers. We were also able to target professional development needs after school towards those specific areas of need. So as far as an instructional tool, this has been huge for us. We are interested, our next goal is, here it says common assessments for all high school courses, and I actually should have moved that over to our accomplishments. I'm sorry, since the last time we spoke, I think that we have accomplished this goal, and all of our high school goals are now being benchmarked. We're still working on a couple of non-rostered teachers having access to the students that they need, teachers who are in response to intervention programs. But I know that we'll have a solution to that any day because I know that the Edulastic team is on it. Our high school's next big goal is to ensure that the ACT question types with content-specific texts and questions are included in their assessments, and that's just a school-wide goal. We're anxious to see how that will affect our ACT scores in the coming years. Also, increasing our PLC conversations and focusing on the progress toward mastery of specific standards. So in the coming year, we will probably use these specific reports to determine which goals need the most bang for our buck in the professional development fields next year. And that, we'll use that to guide much of our professional learning. We're also looking forward to a comparison of our 2018 state assessment results that can be compared with the Q1 through Q3 benchmark data from Edulastic. We're interested to see what that comparison is going to look like. Again, here's just a single picture of the mastery report that John shared. He did a great job of walking us through it. These reports are hugely helpful. Again, individualized instruction, professional development, planning of scope and sequence for the year. These reports have just been very, very helpful. They also help our teachers drill down to get deeper insight to individual students. So while I love to see the district data, we also love the fact that you can dig down and really support one student at a time and help those students create their own goals for success. And that is all that I have prepared. I'll be happy to answer questions.
That was awesome. Thank you, Amy, for sharing that. And if anyone has any questions for Amy in the chat, you can go ahead and write it there or in the Q&A.
I see Swetha is the best. I agree.
Yeah, she's available at all hours. I don't understand. It's fantastic.
Let's not hurt John's feelings though, because John is awesome too.
Yes, definitely.
John Chen, definitely.
Both Johns. Okay, let me share my screen again. We'll open up for questions, but I'm just going to share this slide because I do want to encourage everyone to connect with us for the latest updates and to connect with both John Kite and Dr. Amy Sharp on Twitter. So you can stay updated with them, or if you want to ask them questions, you can ask them questions there. And if you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or if you check up on our blog now and then, you'll get the latest updates and information on how to best maximize your use with Edulastic. So let's see. So we have a question from Stephanie, which is, do you have LMS integration?
Yes, actually we are using, we're using both Office 365's Teams classrooms, and we've done a trial with Canvas this year. and the integration with both products seem to be working well with Edulastic.
Great, she says, thank you.
Absolutely. I will tell you that any kinks that have been along the way, once again, the more we share, the more successful we are at getting those kinks worked out. So anything technology related is going to have some kinks. I've just come to understand that, and that is the way of the world. However, I will say without hesitation that Edulastic has been most responsive regarding any kinks that we have had. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think we will go ahead and wrap it up now. Thanks for everyone. Oh, love integration with Google Classroom. Awesome. Seeing that in the chat right now. Yeah, a lot of teachers definitely enjoy that type of integration. If you want additional examples of other districts or schools who are using Edulastic on the district level, we have some stories posted on our blog of schools in New Jersey, in Tennessee, and also in Iowa who have used Edulastic. Many of them have integrated with Google Classroom or saw that as something that was really beneficial because a lot of their teachers were already using we're already using Google Classroom. So that integration was pretty seamless since all they had to do was use one single click sign on. Another question from the chat. On the bubble sheet assessment, she's not sure how that works. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Have you guys used that, Amy?
Honestly, I have not seen that one in play. I'm sorry. We have tried to get away from the bubble sheets
Okay.
as much as possible. So
No
no.
problem. I think John can talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. So, what the bubble sheet offers is the ability to print bubble sheets. So basically, you go to, and I'll just kind of talk about the steps that you do. From your profile area, you can actually generate. First of all, you would download on your iPhone or Android a free application called Edulastic SnapScore. So you can find that and then download it. And then when you're ready to administer a test, that's multiple choice, true, false, multiple select, and is ready for a bubble sheet, then you can go ahead and create that test. And after you've created the test, you go to the profile area of your account where you can change your password and everything. And down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the opportunity to generate a SnapScore access code. That gives you access to scoring. So, within the assignment, it's really hard. If you're interested in a walkthrough via web conference, please reach out to me. I'm happy to kind of show it to you, and I'll even print out some bubble sheets and you just show you via video what I'm doing. But from the assignments page, you generate these bubble sheets. Students go ahead, they see their name on it, they see their period, they see there's a QR code. So students fill out these sheets, and then as the teacher, you go to your profile area and you generate this access code, and that interfaces with the phone app. So then the phone app then kind of turns into camera mode. And then you hover the phone over every completed assessment, and the phone's reading the QR code as well as the submissions on the bubbles, and it immediately imports that data back into Edulastic. The only thing it doesn't capture is time spent per question, because of course, how could it capture that? But it provides a great way to allow students to answer, for teachers to administer a test, for students to answer a test via bubble sheet while keeping all of the scores in Edulastic. So if I confused you more than provided clarity, please feel free to go to edulastic.com, request a demo, and I'm happy to provide a personalized walkthrough of all the steps so you could see everything that I'm talking about.
And Jenny just entered a link to the article about the bubble sheet assessment, which is called Snap Score. So you can click on that link and it'll take you to our Zendesk where you can learn more about that as well.
Great, thank you.
If you do want to schedule a personal demo with John, we have his email at the bottom of our Connect With Us page, which is currently on the screen as well. Okay. And if that's all the questions we have, again, I'll say thanks everyone for joining in. Thank you so much to our presenters today. Thank you, John Kite, and thank you again, Amy from Jefferson County Schools, for sharing today. We're really happy to have you join us today for today's presentation and share your story. We really appreciate it.
Great. It was a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.